Thanks everyone for turning up. Welcome, and let me introduce Naveed, who's the UK ambassador for Microsoft Tech for Social Impact.
Thank you very much, Matthew, and thank you everybody for taking the time to join the webinar today. So I'm honoured to be here today to share with you more about our efforts to create a positive impact for the people and the planet. But today I just want to start by saying I think I've probably got one of the best jobs here at Microsoft. I get to work with our partners such as FormusPro, but I also get to see the really good stuff you guys are doing in the non-profit sector. So a massive thank you for all the hard work that you're doing there. So at Microsoft, we believe that technology is a powerful force for empowering people and organizations, right? So we see it every day in our work, whether it's data and AI helping predict malaria outbreaks or humanitarian organizations delivering digital literacy to displaced people. And we truly believe that the success of the non-profit and the NGO sector is critical to how we achieve our mission as a company. But to do this, we must make the benefits of world-class technology accessible and relevant for non-profits, NGOs and IGOs. So as a customer-first, partner-led company, we start with the needs of our customers and we work with our partners to deliver the best outcomes for each organization. So if we look at the world, it's changed so much in profound and fundamental ways. Now, we've seen the role of technology have a positive impact as we've all tried to survive through this pandemic. The level of technology adoption has rapidly accelerated. Now, as we think about that pace of transformation, we also need to understand the consequences of that transformation, as well as what our role in that transformation is. So we see a digital divide and the opportunity continuing to grow, but many people are left behind. The number of children in sub-Saharan Africa that are literate at the age of 10, so that's when you stop learning to read and you read to learn, is 10%. So that's 90% of children can't read in sub-Saharan Africa. That means they can't get a job. That means the economic opportunity gap is growing. And COVID had an impact, and technology has a role to play. We look at the persistent fundamental rights issues. We see tragic and unlawful wars unfolding, and we see human rights today and every day on the news being violated all over the world. And technology has a role to play there. We also see an urgent climate crisis. In 2021, at the end of June, it was 106 degrees Fahrenheit in Seattle, and in Netherlands it was also baking at that time, and I believe we also just had the hottest January on record. So that's not normal, and there's a role for technology to play in supporting the world to become a cooler, better place. And then there is a diminishing trust in big technology. There are questions about our motives, our motivations, and it's critical that we apply technology and innovations to address these challenges without sacrificing our core values, such as privacy, trust, transparency, and inclusion. We realized we needed to evolve and think about a different business model role in supporting societal changes and the organizations and non-profits that serve this purpose. So in 2017, Microsoft Philanthropies brought its contribution efforts together with commercial sales and business development to create Tech for Social Impact. So Microsoft created Tech for Social Impact to empower every non-profit and humanitarian organization to accelerate social good. As we work to help everyone achieve more, we are committed to sharing our learnings and reporting our progress across a variety of societal causes, such as affordable housing, digital skilling, and climate change, just to name a few. To give you a couple of examples, Microsoft have reduced 21 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents by our top suppliers. And each month, we analyze over 470 billion emails for malware and phishing attempts. So TSI combines our grants with non-profit commercial engagement in a single team to accelerate impact through technology, deliver solutions to empower social breakthroughs, and help accelerate Microsoft's philanthropic efforts through ours and those of our partners. So globally, non-profits received 1.9 billion in donated or discounted technology and services. So TSI not only provides technology grants, but it also reinvests any profits made from discounted sales to larger charities back into the sector to help the smaller ones. We give free software to those with 10 or fewer employees, which makes up 80% of the world's 4 million non-profit organizations. We also help non-profits modify Microsoft software to meet their specific needs, such as fundraising and mobilizing volunteers, in part connecting them with willing helpers in the company's global partner ecosystem. And we also offer free skills training. As of March 2021, over 30 million learners were reached as part of our global skills initiative. So we're committed to helping in the following ways. Affordable technology solutions. So we work closely with non-profits to help create purpose-built solutions on technologies across all of our product stacks. We're committed to helping non-profits get access to best practices, reference architectures, and faster data insights. Capacity building. Just delivering technology isn't the whole answer. In TSI, we recognize that capacity building is often the key to successful adoption of new digital technology. So that's why we're committed to helping organizations get access to training and certifications to improve their digital skills. The Microsoft partner ecosystem. So we leverage our tens of thousands of commercial partners, such as FormusPro, to create a healthy ecosystem of partners dedicated to delivering solutions and services designed specifically for the non-profit sector. And then there's the social investment model. Incremental funds after costs covered go back into the team and the charitable contributions. So the work that we do in Tech for Social Impact and the broader philanthropies organization is some of the best and most powerful work in bringing these pillars to life. The Tech for Social Impact team is truly committed to this sector, and the idea that's absolutely core to Microsoft's mission to empower every non-profit international development organization with Microsoft technology to accelerate social good. And we've got a number of examples of how we directly impact Microsoft's societal pillars. Let's just take a look at a couple here. So our partnership with UNICEF is a great example of how we directly support inclusive economic growth. So as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, 10% of children aged 10 in sub-Saharan Africa can effectively read. That means 90% cannot. And UNICEF terms this gap learning poverty. If you can't read, it's very hard to learn, which in turn impacts your economic prospects. Through our Learning Passport partnership, we've deployed community training to assist with crisis in 23 countries, and 20 more are currently in process. Millions of kids are registered, and 300,000 have completed training already. Some of the hardest reached locations are adopting the fastest, such as Laos and Somalia. And when we look at our impact in committing to a sustainable future, who's helping us there? The National Forest Foundation is a non-profit that works to preserve and protect wildlife habitat and forestry across 193 million acres of national forest system. So in partnership with Threshold World, the National Forest Foundation was able to implement our Microsoft Cloud for non-profit solutions. Now they're able to track donors, quantify the work, and further their mission of environmental restoration and conservation. So each dollar raised translates directly to another tree planted or preserved. And how do we protect fundamental rights? The United Kingdom-based non-profit Barnados connects hundreds of thousands of families and children in need with valuable social services each year. Barnados is especially passionate about protecting the fundamental rights and safety and health of children. To make most of those connections, Barnados must ensure that employees have the technology they need to work efficiently, accurately, and the organizations also need to show that potential donors that the work they're doing has a concrete impact. So by deploying Microsoft Cloud technologies and Microsoft Surface devices, Barnados has helped employees be more effective in the field, and it has gained valuable reporting capabilities that have been essential in securing funding to meet the increased demand for services, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there are a number of offers that are available for non-profits. If you're not registered as a non-profit, or you're not sure if you're registered as a non-profit, I would highly recommend reaching out to FormusPro. They can advise you on the process to register. It's fairly simple. There's a non-profits eligibility checker and a registration page. Takes about 3 days. Should be pretty smooth process. If there's any issues, any questions, normally comes through to me, and I can work with your partners to ensure that we get you through, as long as you have a UK charity, a registered charity number. But as mentioned earlier, there's a number of offers, and we would suggest you take advantage of these as soon as you can. So supporting non-profits is part of who we are. It's in our DNA. We've been engaged with charity since 1983, with the inception of its employee giving campaign. But our work has only just begun. This year marks TSI's 7th year anniversary, but we're more motivated than ever. And truly reaching our vision at scale requires a broad base of amazing teammates like yourselves in every corner of the globe. And in 2022, Microsoft provided 3.8 billion in grants and discounted software and services, and we equipped 325,000 non-profit organizations with modern, secure, and scalable Microsoft cloud solutions. And in July 2020, we launched an initiative to help 25 million people worldwide acquire the digital skills that are needed in the COVID-19 economy. So everything that we do is driven by this deep sense of purpose and the timeless values of trust, privacy, transparency, inclusion. Values that our customers have come to expect of us and that today's fast-paced changing society requires of us. So the question really is, what is our role in modern day? So Milton Friedman, who's a renowned economist, he said the role of a company is to serve its shareholders, that greed is good. But the definition has evolved because it turns out that companies don't operate in some parallel universe or vacuum outside of the planet. We're all affected by the world around us, whether it's global warming or it's poverty or it's our next market in Africa. Billions of people in our world are affected. So the new definition of what a company needs to do, that's every company, came from the Business Roundtable, which is 181 CEOs. And they say the role of a company is not just to serve shareholders, but the role of a company is to serve stakeholders. Our stakeholders are our employees, our partners such as FormusPro, and most importantly, our customers, you guys. That's the communities that we operate in. And our philosophy at Microsoft is simple. Companies that can do more, they should do more, and we are doing more. And with that, I'd like to say a huge thank you again for taking the time to join, and a massive, massive thank you for all the great work that you're doing. I'm just going to pass you back to Matthew at FormusPro. Thank you.
Thanks, Naveed. Appreciate that. So, yeah, thank you again. Welcome to a no tech speak introduction to Microsoft Dynamics 365 for the non-profit sector. So I'm going to be going over some of the bits of technology that Naveed's been describing in use by some of those organizations, making great grounds. I'll be your host today on behalf of FormusPro. So the agenda for today, a bit of an introduction. Who am I? Who's FormusPro? And then we'll cover off very briefly what is Microsoft Dynamics 365, the whole purpose of today's talk. And we'll go into some of the modules that make up that product, such as sales, customer service, customer insights, business central and finance, the Power Platform. And then we've got 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. If any of you guys have any questions, we can put them in the chat then. So who am I? I'm Matthew Hockaday. I'm the Dynamics C practice lead. I've been working with Microsoft Dynamics since about version 4, so that's coming on to 12 years. And I've been a software consultant a little bit longer than that. My Dynamics journey started as a junior consultant, working my way through the tiers of consultancy all the way to solution architect. And then for the last 12 months, I've been heading up the delivery team at FormusPro for all of our Dynamics implementations at FormusPro. So I've been with FormusPro 6 years, just January gone. And over my years in both at FormusPro and at previous Microsoft partners, I've specialised in membership, not-for-profit, higher education and local government, as well as touching on different industries as well. So who are FormusPro? Well, FormusPro are a leading digital transformation partner. We specialise in working with not-for-profit organisations as well as membership organisations and local authorities of all sizes worldwide. We're a certified solutions partner and we specialise in affordable development of Dynamics. Business Central, customer engagement and Power App solutions. We provide businesses like yourselves with the flexibility of bespoke software, speed and reliability given to us by the off-the-shelf options from Microsoft. Our mission is to empower our clients with a single version of the truth through modern software and CRM. Our unique approach blends the roles of consultants and developers, and we're committed to building strong relationships. We pride ourselves on a track record of successfully completing every project that we've undertaken. It happens to be our 12th birthday next month, so something we'll be celebrating. So as I said, we're certified business solutions. Dynamics 365 happens to be a portfolio of intelligent business applications. Microsoft's own definition says that it delivers superior operational efficiency and breakthrough customer experience, enabling businesses to become more agile reduce complexity without increasing cost. So what are those applications? They are, as we mentioned, Dynamics 365 for sales, Dynamics 365 customer service, customer insights, Dynamics 365 Business Central, finance, and then others like HR and supply chain all make up the whole Microsoft Dynamics product suite. Being part of Microsoft, they're built and leveraged the Power Platform and its features, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And included in all of the Dynamics 365 applications we're going to talk about today, you've got the data security that Microsoft offers as the host of both the software and the host of the data layer. With that comes guaranteed 99% uptime for any sort of always online service. That's about as good as you can get for an online tool. Also included with all of Dynamics 365 applications is the integration with Microsoft 365. So that's our provider that most organizations use for sort of username and passwords, for our access to things like our emails through Outlook, access to Microsoft Office, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and of course not forgetting Teams, so we can all enjoy internal meetings, we can make calls or attend webinars just like this. So looking at our first product, it's important to note, the same with all the applications we're going to talk about today, that the base product is deliberately quite generic. Microsoft haven't attempted to build a bespoke sales system for every different sales process or sales team across every different industry that they might possibly deploy their software to. But what they do is combine the core elements that fit most standard sales processes. They'll use that. That will form a base template for every application, not just sales. And then we'll use that as a platform to build from. So, using sales as an example, most sales processes will typically have either a product or a service that will end in an invoice, even if it's a zero value invoice. So what they're giving us there is a template, to start from. And in the example of sales, the sort of differences or additional information that we might gather as part of a sales process, or the bespoke sales steps that a different business or each different sales team use. Microsoft invite us as part of their partner network to amass the skills and the knowledge in the product to then add all of those customer specific features, to configure the system to work how you need it to work, customize it if at all necessary to fit the requirements of each customer, in this case, you guys. And it's the same for each application. It gives us the platform to start from, the building blocks for each function. So sales, this tends to be the CRM bit. The CRM, customer relationship management. The key to any CRM is the customer word. And this is our both people and organizations. And when we say people, we mean any individual. And that could form, I could either be a donor, I could be a volunteer, I could be a fundraiser at another organization, I could be a member, I could simply be an attendee at an event you ran, I could be a consumer or a buyer from yourselves. Or as an organization, I could be a supplier, a corporate donor, I could be a sponsor, just another company, competition, another fundraiser. So all of these different personas in both people and companies, those are what form our customers in our relationship management system. So sales introduces a lead inquiry concept. So a lead is really the first contact we have from someone, be it an email inquiry, someone filling out a contact me form or registering for a newsletter, someone emails an info@ email address, or they call with a question about an event they want to attend, or maybe they're interested in becoming a volunteer. They could be registering in the street with some frontline staff who are capturing their details on an app. Whatever the route or channel that data is captured, that's their initial entry point for that person or organization. And that's the creation of our lead record or our inquiry. So to us, that could be the very first interaction we've had with someone who is a potential donor or a new member or a new volunteer. And of course, ultimately, they could be a new source of revenue for our business. So building that relationship using the features that Dynamics 365 Sales offers is just fantastic way of getting them into the system, engaging with them, and using those tools. We can reduce churn by increasing engagement and increasing it intelligently, so the system can analyze points at which people perhaps disengage or fall off, so reducing that churn by engaging with them at the point at which they're about to dip out. We can utilize features like lead scoring, tells us who and when people are most likely to engage, and couple that with the lead to opportunity sales process, where we're converting those sort of initial inquiries into something much more valuable. We can get increased conversion rates. Conversion would be an inquiry or a lead that gets qualified because we want to carry on that engagement, and they would become an opportunity. An opportunity then is any potential revenue stream. We use the opportunity record for managing that ongoing relationship. It's the record of the nurturing, so all of the activity, all of the communication we have with that person, be it email, be it phone call, be it appointment, campaign, targeted emails, all of those will be recorded and will flash out that engagement, that relationship building we've got with them. The opportunity lets us record all of the stakeholders that might be invested internally or externally with that opportunity record. We can record, if there is expected or actual revenues, closure dates as the opportunity moves through the system, track any milestones, signatures, or data gateways we need through the journey. And for the NFP space specifically, it can be used, to track things like funding applications or grant requests. And we can build the data model to support all of the information gathering required for those applications and requests. And ultimately, the opportunity is then either won or lost in the system. And so we can use it to track expected revenue based how far along these opportunities are in their pipeline, with expected conversion rates, give you a good indication of what money may be coming in. Typically, when they're related to a sale, there will be a product. So the system will allow us to store those as well, lists of both either physical products or even services we offer. So it could be web sales of merchandise or even web sales of memberships, for example. And that all ends in either quotes and orders if necessary, but ultimately an invoice and a closed and won opportunity. The next piece of the puzzle is Dynamics 365 for customer service. People typically judge a company, especially the keyboard warriors and those prone to rant on social media, on their customer service. Normally, people engage in customer service things, they've got an issue or a query or maybe even a complaint, and so it's key that the engagement levels and the time to respond is all really managed well, automated where at all possible, to ease the very busy staff working in this area. I would say any organisation should be trying to improve the customer experience, ensuring those timely resolutions to any inquiries or concerns that might be raised with them. So this module, as the name suggests, is focused completely on that customer service. So this might be, someone calling a helpline or contacting customer services directly by email. And the outcome of all of these interactions would what we call a case or an incident. This is at the core of the module, and it's this record that we manage from the moment it's logged all the way through to resolution. We can record a resolution reason, something like the question was answered. The system will give you lots of automation as well around that process. So we can do automation with case routing, making sure that the person dealing with the case is the person most appropriate for the job, whether it be the category of the case or maybe the region of the customer who raised the case. We might want to route it to a different user or team. There might be a team that's specializing in a certain product, or maybe a team related to an event that's running, and so any queries or cases coming in around that event can be routed to them automatically, and the case gets handled much quickly. Also cuts down on the first line support having to manually assign or forward on all of those cases where they're not necessarily for that team. We've also got the idea of SLAs or service level agreement. So this is a timer function that the system will use, and it will track for us based on the metrics that we define. So as long as we tell it what we're timing against, for example, we might want to have an expectation to respond to any case within the first 24 hours, not just an automated email. Thanks. We want, a physical response from a human being, a personalized response within those 24 hours. And they can be calendar hours or business hours, depending on how quickly we need to respond as an organization. That response can still be templated to save the individual time. They're not having to write something out every time. But it goes to the customer and it gives them an update on the progress that's been made. They can be configured and flexible. They can be based maybe on an entitlement. So if people are of a certain level with your support, they might get a shorter SLA, and someone on a gold level might get a longer SLA, for example. And the system can track that for us. And it can also, of course, warn us if we're nearing expiry or breach of one of our SLA deadlines as well, to help us not fail. It's a dirty word, but there's also the concept of complaints as well. I'm not saying any of you have disgruntled patrons, but it's known to happen occasionally. So a case could be a complaint would be one way of tracking within the system. It might lead to an escalation to a team lead, for example, or someone with the power to offer compensation, maybe a gift voucher, a free return visit if it was an event. And the system will allow that escalation process. And obviously we can allow different people with different permissions to do different things. All companies, commercial NFP, will have customer service departments, I'm sure, and we can combine the single view of a donor or contact volunteer with their service experience. And finally, the knowledge management features. It's a great way of assisting self-service, both for internal staff using the system, but for customers and volunteer cohorts, especially paired with some sort of volunteer self-service portal or forum. So no CRM is complete without targeted marketing, which is our customer insights. Customer insights journeys gives us that targeted email marketing campaigns and customer journeys. A lot of the features in the marketing module are templated as well with a load of suggestions. The journeys have some journey templates, but they can be configured by yourselves to be as detailed or as simple as you like. It's got some great features built in, like A/B marketing, where we can choose to send 2 different templates to 10% of our total target audience, and based on the success rates or the click-through rates or the open rates for those 2 different templates, and we can then send the winner of the 2 to the remainder of the target audience, ensuring we get the best return on investment for our marketing efforts. The system will allow us to do segmentation, obviously, but also dynamic segmentation. So, for example, donors who've donated over £100 but not donated in the last 6 months, as soon as anyone lapses that 6 months since their last donation, they'd automatically get added into that segment, and that could then trigger them on an automated journey just to keep them engaged. A little bit of email marketing here, and the result, if again there's no engagement up to the 12-month mark, it could be a phone call or a very personalized email saying, hope you're okay, we appreciate all the efforts in the past, would you like to re-engage with us? A percentage of donors, for example, will always continue to donate. They're the reliable cohort, almost regardless of how much interaction we give them or not. Then there's that percentage will always donate, and there are a percentage who are always going to drop out, just one-off donations, and then they're done, regardless again of how much we market to or target them. But we believe there's that sweet spot in between, where we get people who are made a donation, they're not regularly donating, but given enough targeted marketing, a bit of nurturing, a reminder that you're there, and the difference that their money could make, then there's some huge potential for unlocking that. All of those donors that were potentially on the fence about whether to donate again, and some clever marketing targeted, can unlock a lot of that potential. Customer insights can link in nicely for sales and can suggest, and we can score engagement levels. So you're only targeting those that are worth targeting. So you're not wasting time spam emailing people who have just no interest in engaging at all. based on either their website interactions, the amount of times they've donated over 12 months, the amount of interaction they've had with previous emails you've sent them. We could do some very specific value targeted marketing, not wasting time then on the deadwood, and giving you the best chance at reducing donor or even volunteer churn. System will analyze the data on past trends, predicts exit points, and then that suggests the targeted re-engagement. And you can control that as part of the campaign. Adding in there, of course, social media posts. You can schedule them from a single view within Dynamics across all of your platforms. So you're not sort of cross-marketing two different campaigns or appeals, within the same week. You can structure it nicely, and that all feeds in to the end user customer journey. And finally, from Insights is quite a comprehensive event management suite with plenty of features for planning, running and rerunning small one-off events or even week-long session-based conferences with tracks and sign-ups. The features available, such as online registration, utilizing an event registration portal. You can run either offline events or online webinar events using online tools like Teams, for example. It will allow you to set minimum and maximum participations at events and sessions. You can track the attendance. You can guide attendees on certain specialist routes they might want to take during the course of the whole event. You can also hold venue, location, rooms, room layouts and capacities, and it's got waitlist functionality for oversubscribed sessions. You can track your internal delegates, speakers or volunteers that are, maybe assisting you in running the event. And you can remind them about logistics. It will assist you in maybe organising overnight stays for the volunteers or food, so like you track their dietary requirements or accessibility requirements if needed. And finally, using the journeys, you can request and track event feedback as well once you've run your event. So kind of the end of the sales journey, as it were, would be generating that invoice and realizing that revenue. Well, Dynamics 365 Business Central and Finance are the two finance specific offerings from Microsoft in the sector. They both do financial management and accounting, but they're targeted at two very different ends of the market. Business Central aimed at small to medium sized businesses, and Finance targeted at more enterprise level, sort of multinational, multi-currency organizations. Both have got an excellent place in the market and good at forming part of a single version of the truth, because the customer data for your accounts team is the same as the customer data for your sales team, and in theory what the marketing team are bringing in up front will eventually become that same customers. So with this centralized data, we remove the concept of data silos that might have existed previously when we had separate finance systems. This means as users of Dynamics, we can share key information on end-to-end donations, revenue, transaction management, aggregate that data instantaneously into one ecosystem. So any one of your fundraising teams got a snapshot view directly of either a corporate donor or an individual donor. What's their giving status, live, up to date. Gift aid submissions, again, is another one, ties nicely into finance, being able to submit to HMRC the gift aid in batches, record those directly into the finance system, removing the need for sort of any additional manual sending. Oh, this to finance, these are all the people that we need to request gift aid or claim gift aid. It's all there as part of the Dynamics data layer. These systems offer integrations and connectors to online payment services. So if you've got Stripe, PayPal, or utilize any giving platforms like Just Giving Online, we can integrate those accounts directly into Business Central or Finance system and get those that money coming straight into your general ledger, profit and loss. You can manage multi-location and multi-company accounts from a single instance of Business Central or Finance, which is obviously great for the larger organizations. And if you were in the process of production, or you have warehouses or stock that needs monitoring, there are ERP features built in that can be leveraged in Business Central, or for those larger ERP solutions, there's Dynamics 365 supply chain management as a standalone product as well. So invoice generation is key for our finance, which because we're doing it in the same ecosystem as our sales system, gives us things like live debtors view on our customers. We can see their up-to-date paid statuses on any outstanding invoices. As a non-profit, combining, for example, fundraising platform and your finance system, and even sort of your program delivery metrics, staff will be able to see a real-time view of information, empowering them to update individual donors as well as corporate partners so they can understand the impact of their contribution, live there and then. So then what Microsoft have done very nicely is they've created the fundraising engagement app. So it's integrated with the Dynamics 365 product suite, and it leverages a lot of the core entities we've already been talking about, like our contacts, our people, and our organizations from sales. But it bridges the gap between the sort of commercial off-the-shelf offerings, which we've gone through now, and then the needs of a charity or non-profit organization. And so they introduce concepts specific for fundraising that previously partners like FormusPro were having to spend time adding into each project for a non-profit. It's still an accelerator. It's still a platform to start from and to add your organization specific processes, terminology, and nuances for your fundraising processes. But it introduces some key fundraising concepts, for example, households, where giving from members of the same household can remain separate as an individual, as a contact, but then you can view it all and roll it up at household level and get that running household total. It's got an area specifically for development that combines contacts, organizations, and households with opportunities. It's the same opportunity we spoke about as part of sales a little earlier, but it adds the concept of funding reports. So linking those opportunities to their appropriate funding report, they provide a list of the reports we need to generate in order to fill reporting obligations, for example. The fundraising area helps to create, execute, and report on the performance of fundraising initiatives. And they get grouped in campaigns or donations, events, or gifts, grouping them into appeals. And then even underneath, an appeal can sit underneath a parent campaign and get that double level of grouping. And then if there are smaller elements of appeals, that can be grouped further, for example, into packages. The gift section then adds some more ways of tracking fundraising with the addition of a tribute or memories section, as well as recording donor commitments and pledges, things like fund management and payment schedules, and some finance specific record types like transactions, gift batches for grouping related payments, and bank runs. Though typically in the UK, we usually replace this with customization for recording direct debit functionality, for example, and written integrations into gift aid to support the gift aid declaration features that are added as part of the fundraising and engagement accelerator. FormusPro, along with other partners, of course, have bridged that gap previously. We do in-house development for those common, usually regional specific gaps in the needs for non-profit organisations in the UK. Finally, it does add an event section where you can set up and record event transactions. You can also manage and sell tickets, register donors, and so on. It's not as comprehensive or as detailed as events module we saw as part of customer insights, but it's a great low-cost way of starting to record those fundraising events that perhaps that data was just set on spreadsheets before. Another offering from Microsoft is the NFP Accelerator. Again, it's integrated with the 365 product suite, and it adds a base layer common data set of tables for the industry standard definition for things like constituent management, fundraising, awards, program delivery, and impact tracking. So it gives you 8 unique sample model-driven applications that are listed on the screen to cover those areas. And again, it's a leg up for partners like FormusPro to get that base layer of very sort of standard specific areas of the system that a not-for-profit or fundraising organisation might like to have. It's still an accelerator, and I wouldn't recommend sort of leveraging right out the box and going live with it. But it adds a lot of useful non-profit specific tables from common data model, as we said. Also, there is a base layer of analytics featuring for fundraising and program delivery analytics that can be extended further with the Power Platform. And it's built on the principle of a single source of truth, so no data silos. Everything sits again within that single ecosystem. The Power Platform, I mentioned it a few times on some of the other slides. Again, the Dynamics suite is kind of built on the Power Platform, and all of these Power Platform specific apps are what supplement Dynamics and gives it all of its additional features. So yeah, we've got Power Apps, so you can spin up custom apps. It's an app development tool, and it'll allow you to capture data straight into your Dynamics data. Could be guided dynamic forms or just straight data capture forms. And these Canvas apps can be web or mobile, tablet hosted applications. Just another way of getting users to engage and input information into the system. Power Pages is the web portal offering. We've mentioned them a few. They've got, for example, self-service capabilities for buying or giving, volunteer management or event management portal, customer service portal with knowledge management built in. These are all good examples of the types of portals that you might have. A good example would be a portal to capture rage donations, a term that I only just learned. But typically, due to some recent horrific conflict or disaster, people's gut reaction is to need to do something, and they'll want to donate. Within the first few hours that some tragic news was to break, a Power Page thrown up could capture those sort of reactive donations really early. Power Automate, so the power of automation. So you can automate things like outbound communications, the capability to be able to set schedules for recurring comms, recurring gifts, recurring pledges, along with maintaining membership renewals, ensures everything runs smoothly throughout each stage of the onboarding or fundraising journeys, as well as utilizing the thousands of connectors that are part of the no-code approach for Power Automate. So you can have data flowing between the Dynamics ecosystem and any key line of business systems without the need for any development. Power Virtual Agents, for example, web chat features leveraging AI to automate conversation, enabling you to respond to queries, capture details of those conversations before either handing them off to a real person or redirecting them somewhere on your website to self-serve. It's a great way, if done properly, of reducing man hours for any frontline service issues. Omnichannel is the customer service version of these web chat, and it leverages the Power Virtual Agents very effectively. And lastly, the Power BI is intelligent reporting from the Power Platform, collating data from all of the Microsoft Dynamics applications into a single real-time view of data, giving you dashboards and unified reporting in one place. And you can embed them into Dynamics for users or display them on the floor or on the screen in an office to give everyone a snapshot view of where we are, cases closed or things that need looking at as a priority. So combining those applications we talked about in Dynamics with the backing of all the functionality that the Power Platform offers, hopefully you see how we can sort of streamline business process, make some good savings, and let you get on with the really important stuff. What about AI, you may be asking yourselves? Well, Copilot is one of the latest and greatest offerings from Microsoft, low-code conversational AI solutions. Non-profits can easily build their own co-pilots, also known as conversational bots, to respond to constituents quickly. And there is non-profit pricing available with a 75% discount. But if you're interested in how to empower your fundraising with AI, I suggest you catch our next session, which is again partnered with Tech for Social Impact from Microsoft, hosted on the 26th of February. And that is it for the presentation, and that leaves us a few minutes to have some Q&A.
If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them either in the QA section or the chat, and Matt will happily hang around for another 5-10 minutes and answer those. Otherwise, thank you very much, and we'll send a recording through of this for your records probably in the next few days.
Yeah, thanks, James. Yeah, for those that are leaving, then thank you very much for your time. And for those with questions, it's a great time, as James said, to put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them live if I can, or at least make a note to answer those that need more time or a detailed explanation directly.
For anybody that's got any questions about Matt's voice, he's obviously been very, very ill recently, and he's desperately trying to do this for us. So thank you, Matt. We have had just a question come in. Is there an accelerator for volunteer management?
There are some volunteer components within the NFP accelerator, even though it wasn't explicitly listed as one of the apps. But it is quite light touch in my experience. It's a volunteer is still a contact, so it's almost better to supplement the contact with any volunteering information you might have, and just usually have them as a type of either attendee or a stakeholder in an event.
We've also got a question about flying thick and fast now. What's a typical implementation cost? Which I know is always a fun one because it's how long is a piece of string? But Matt, I'll hand that to you.
Yeah, it really does depend. Again, of course, there's NFP discounts to take into consideration, which was on one of Naveed's slides earlier about the reduced costs. But it depends on which applications you need to leverage. So is it a sales service? Do you want the addition of marketing? The NFP accelerator, for example, is free. Fundraising engagement, I believe, is offered to not-for-profits as well. So if you're just utilizing that, then the licensing cost is kept low, and it depends on how much customization and configuration you need to layer on top, which is why you engage with a partner. FormusPro, of course, being a Microsoft partner specializing in this area, we offer not-for-profit discounts as well to keep the implementation costs low. But I think you're looking at anywhere sort of between £10,000 to £30,000 for a small implementation, and that can obviously grow and expand if you add finance. Then there's an extra cost as well.
Anybody that is interested can obviously follow up with us after this. We'll email you the recording, and we're happy to have conversations with you on that. So thank you. I look forward to receiving the slides. Is there support for setting up?
And that is why you engage. Yeah, so the configuration is all done by us, the partner. We're happy to work with you. As part of the configuration, we'll typically run a project which will involve user engagement in terms of requirements. Then it will be training, so you guys know how to use the system. You'll go through some vigorous user acceptance testing to onboard you, but the configuration is done by us typically.
And I think we've already answered this one, but I'm just going to read it out anyway. Do you consult to collate the needs from across various teams within an organization? We have what I think is the basic package, but we need it to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the main things we do is digital transformation, essentially. So yeah, a lot of the times we're engaged with people who already know that they like the Microsoft product, which is fantastic, and it enables us to just get in, learn about your business, hold a load of requirements gathering sessions, ensure that the SMEs and the people who are going to be using the system are engaged, work out what their user stories are, what their expectations are of the system, and document that out, and then start implementing it so that their needs are met by the time you go live with the system.
Okay, next question. Is there any sort of checklist available for considerations what you should think about before implementation, best in class parameters for setting up a CRM, etc.? I mean, clearly the answer to that one, Matt, is Microsoft CRM, right? That's the only checklist we need, surely.
Yeah, you've made a good start by attending this session, absolutely. So yeah, I'd go through. Obviously, I've highlighted the applications that are available. There's plenty of online videos. You can even set up demo environments for free through Microsoft and get a taster for each of the flavors of the different offerings. Find out what is the best fit for your business. Obviously, you can either change the way your business works to fit Microsoft and run it your way, or engage with a partner like us and we'll help configure the system to run exactly the way you need it to work for your businesses. But yeah, the checklist is just make sure that you've got a good set of requirements for the system. Otherwise, people tend to run away with the art of the possible.
And obviously for privacy reasons, I'm not reading out names with these questions because we will be sending out this recording. But somebody's just said here, we've only just been set up with 365 for non-profit, so struggling with time and resources. So support sounds great. Someone did set us up, but then deleted some old accounts, which we still need. One thing, Matt, I'll sort of hand over to you again, but one thing FormusPro has always specialised in is what's called rescue projects. I don't know if you want to just sort of give 30 seconds there, Matt.
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier on. We pride ourselves on always delivering any implementation that we start. It's not the case for everyone. Of course, we're not going to name any names, but a lot of our business comes from sort of failed project starts or failed implementations where they're either yet to go live or they went live and there was no user adoption. So what we do, we come in and we try and help you, pick up what you've already got and make it better, make it work, get that user adoption back in place, or just get you over the line if you're halfway through your implementation. So we're well skilled at doing that. It's not ideal, but unfortunately it happens a lot, and so we've done quite a lot of those in the past.
Thank you all for attending, and as Matt pointed out, we hope to see you at the next one, which is how we can sort of empower your non-profits with AI in just under a month's time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.